Good afternoon. My name is Laura, and I'm from Eastern Iowa. And last summer, my garden produced 350 pounds of beautiful heirloom tomatoes. These are some pictures that I found that I had done from last summer. Beautiful. I was in the peak, I was getting about 30 pounds every other day, and I was able to give some, and we ate so much fresh salsa. I also did do some small batch canning towards the end of the season. I was pretty tomatoed out and ended up throwing the rest of it into the freezer. You'll see that basket there that was full of Romas and some more miscellaneous ones. I went out for my final pick. And then these were right before frost, so I brought in all the green, and they all did end up turning. Here was a crock pot. I ended up cooking this down and making my son's very favorite lunch, which is tomato soup. These I just put in the freezer. So today I decided I needed to get these out of the freezer, so I pulled all these bags out, cooked them down in the roaster over about the span of a day, and I have so much product downstairs canned up, salsas to chili paste to tomato juice to tomato sauce to marinara sauce, all those yummies that I logically really don't need anymore down there. So I got this freeze dryer back in October, and I am just going to make some tomato powder. My plan to use it, because I'm not taking the seeds or the skins out, I'm just going to puree it down once it's already been freeze dried into a powder. And I want to use this to season things like rice or to thicken soup, or even I've seen people will take it and just put minimal amounts of water in and make their own tomato paste, so then I can stop getting it from Costco. So that's my plan. So I'm just filling my 5 trays. I have a medium freeze dryer from Harvest Right. So I'm just gonna load my trays up. I'll get those going. So last year I started all my seeds here by myself, and I ended up with, I believe it was like 23 plants in the ground, 3 of which were spoon tomatoes for my son. They're really small and cute. I'm going to try and limit myself to 4 this year, but I just don't know if that'll happen. That right there was some tomato juice that I had been skimming off while my tomatoes were cooking down and pressure canning those up. I also used some juice to cook a chuck roast, and it was delicious. So my freeze dryer is ready. It's done the 15 minutes cool down. So I'm going to get those trays in. They took, I don't know, a day, maybe a day and a half to process. So while I'm working on it, I'm going to go ahead and fill some more jars with some juice and get the rest of these tomatoes put in that container so that when this batch is done, I can swap it out and put new in. I decided while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and fill up a half-gallon jar. I am doing the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, and I knew at this point I wanted to make a soup. It was very cold out, and it just sounded good. I ended up taking this juice and turning it into like a beef and vegetable barley soup. It was very good. So I'm just going to put one of these black lids on my half gallon and stick it in the fridge. It's going to get used up here in the next day or two. Go ahead and wipe my jars, get their lids and rings on. Today I'm opting to use my electric pressure cooker, and it's just helpful. I've got a 3-year-old. I've got to do stuff with him, take care of him. This takes all the guesswork out of it. So I'm going to process this according to the instructions. So my freeze dryer is now done. I'm going to go ahead and take the trays out. And I'm going to see how much powder this gives me, but I probably have 2 more rounds worth to run through the freeze dryer. So I'm probably just going to put all this in a Mylar bag, but later on I do want to have probably a pint or at least a half a pint in a jar in my pantry upstairs. These will probably just go in a tote downstairs for an emergency or a rainy day, or if I just need more tomato powder, it doesn't matter. But that's what it looked like, nice and dry. So I'm going to work on getting this into this container, which I actually use when I proof dough. It's got nice tall sides. I figured it would work well for getting these out because it, as you can see, the tray fits nicely inside. So I'm going to get all these trays emptied into my bin here, and then I will work on running them through the blender and getting them all nice and fine. So we're just going to take bits by bits and throw it in here. And I think it takes me a couple of rounds to get through all of this. And as I'm doing it, I'll just slowly start filling one of my Mylar bags. And if you're worried about the seeds or the skins, they get pulverized in here and you can't even tell they're in here. So yeah, I'm going to wipe the inside of the zipper down, and I went ahead and zipped that up to keep air out. Here's my oxygen absorber. I'm going to get one out. I'll seal the rest back up. I'll go ahead and plop this in the bag, give it a good zip, make sure I push out as much air as I can. Zip it up, and then we'll seal the top. Nice and clean. And I did print out a cute little label with the date and what's in it. Stick that on, and we'll throw it downstairs. I hope to see everyone soon.